playing in the National Football League since 1980 when he was a rookie with the Cleveland Browns. Barring injury, he'll gain more yardage in this one season than in his entire career coming in to 1987. So White,
the Rams needing a victory to stay alive. John Robinson watched his team begin with a mark of 1-7. There was a great deal of turmoil and dissension and acrimony. And now all of a sudden they are not that far away from a playoff berth. But first things first, and here we go from Anaheim Stadium on a nice evening with the temperature in the high 50s. And the Cowboys kicking off to the Rams, where it's fielded by Ron Brown at the 10-yard line. And Brown brings it back out to the 25. So the Rams begin from there. And Jim Everett, last year drafted by Houston, didn't sign with the Oilers, traded to the Rams, became the Rams starting quarterback late in the season, and has been at the helm throughout 1987. Mike Gooman and Charles White are the running backs. Brown and Eller the wideouts, and David Hill starts the game at tight end. And there is that great offensive line. John Robinson said Tom Newberry, the left guard last week, played as good a game as he has ever seen any guard play against Atlanta. From the 27, the Rams begin with two tight ends, and Everett goes right to the air, has a man wide open, and it's Henry Eller for a first down at the 42-yard line. He was covered by the rookie cornerback Ron Francis. First down, Los Angeles. The Dallas defense up front, Too Tall Jones with Kevin Brooks. Randy White has been spelled quite a bit of late by Noonan, and Jeffcoat is the right end. They are beaten up as far as the linebackers are concerned. Penn, Diassi, and Rohrer. They have lost Hegman, and they have lost Lockhart to broken legs. And there's the secondary. First down, Rams from the 42-yard line. And White's first carry of the night is good for a yard or two, where he's met by Jesse Penn at the 44-yard line. Second down and 8.
A good look there, I think, at the Cowboy defensive front. You notice how they were jumping around. I think they're going to try to show the Ram offensive line a lot of different sets, a lot of different looks tonight, and they'll be flexing in that defensive theirs. Guys up on the line of scrimmage, guys back off. I hate to say it for the Cowboys, but they're going to have to try to play some games up front with that Ram front, because I don't think they're going to be able to control the line of scrimmage against Los Angeles.
Again, double tight end with Damone Johnson now going in motion and off the play fake. It's Everett, protected well and throwing to Gooman at the 49-yard line, short of a first down. He is stopped by Steve Diassi. Downs and Diassi both in on the tackle. And Mike Gooman, the fullback, makes his 18th catch of the season.
And what an unlikely backfield if you would have looked at it at the beginning of the season. Mike Gooman and Charles White. But they have performed so well over the past few weeks, 5 straight victories. And, of course, the Dallas Cowboys are playing without a couple of regular linebackers. Missing is Mike Hegman at the left side, and the middle linebacker is Steve Diassi, replacing Gene Lockhart, and that will make a big difference in their defense.
3rd and 1 from the 49-yard line, and White can't get the first down as he stopped at the line of scrimmage. The tackle is made by number 99, Kevin Brooks. And the Rams will now have it 4th and 1 at the 49-yard line, and Robinson sends in the punting unit with Dale Hatcher to kick it away.
I think we're going to see one thing for sure tonight, guys, and that's a Cowboy team that plays with a lot of emotion. Not a fun place to be in Dallas with a losing streak like this going on, and this is not a team that's going to roll over and die. I think we're going to see some hard hitting.
Hatcher having a good year, gets off a beauty, and a fair catch is called for by Martin, but he lets it bounce, and it bounds into the end zone for a touchback. And so the Cowboys will take over at their own 20. No score, 13:06 to play in the first period. But he's back on the bench, and they'll go with Steve Pelleur making his 3rd start of the year. He started against Miami and against Atlanta, and he'll be complimented in the backfield by Walker and Newsom. Then you've got Edwards and Renfro, the wideouts. Cosbie is the tight end, and there is the revamped and young at least at the tackles, offensive line with 2 rookies. 1st and 10 as Pelleur goes right up top. Under pressure, has to scramble out. He is a mobile quarterback, and that time he's able to turn a potential sack into a 4-yard gain Eckern and Meisner in on the stop. Reed, Meisner, and Reggie Doss, the 3 men up front. Sean Miller is still out with a bad ankle. Owens, Eckern, Jim Collins leads the team in tackles, and Wilcher, the outside linebacker. Gray and Irvin have done great jobs at the corners. They are banged up at safety. Cromwell and the rookie Michael Stewart start there. But Johnny Johnson is out for the year, and so is Vince Newsom. From the 24, 2nd down and 6. And it's Hershel Walker. His first carry of the night gets him out to the 28-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 2. And the outside linebacker, the steady one, number 58, Mel Owens, makes the tackle. And when you look at Walker's numbers, there are his figures on the ground. He is just as valuable, though, as a receiver. He leads the team in catches with 51.
And as we watched him, and if you've been watching the Cowboys much this season, you know they'll move him all over. They'll start him in the backfield. They'll move him out to the weak side as a receiver, try to get single coverage on Hershel Walker, because he leads the ball club with 51 receptions. He's a good receiver.
He's a pretty good little chess piece is what it amounts to. 3rd down and 2 from the 28-yard line. And Pelleur going deep on 3rd and short to Walker. And there he is, exhibiting his skill as a receiver.
And I think right there, guys, is a good look at one of the statistics we saw when we flashed up that graphic on Walker. He's got a 12-yard average as a receiver coming out of the backfield. Rarely do you see a running back in double digits, and this is a good look why. He beats Jimmy Collins, who wasn't even in the picture when Hershel makes the catch. It's not often you'll see a back that's got that kind of an average coming out of the backfield.
And Dan, so often you can get a back out of the backfield on a linebacker, as we just saw there.
Good for a gain at 24. There he is again. Big hole, and he exploits it for another 1st down, taking it down to the 34-yard line. And the 2 safeties, the last line of defense, stop him, Stewart and Cromwell. 14 yards for Walker.
Well, if he has value as a receiver, this is really, though, where you take this guy to the bank. Just out of the I formation, he's seen this a million times behind Newsom, the lead blocker, and that's a good job at the line of scrimmage. Hershel didn't really have to fight for much until he was 7 or 8 yards downfield.
Cowboys have moved from their own 20 to the Ram 34. No score early in the 1st period. And Pelleur protected well, throws complete to the 27 to the tight end, Doug Cosbie, who was wrapped up by Jim Collins.
Cowboys making it look very easy against a tough Ram defense. We talked so much about their offense having come around this season. It's a defensive team that over the last 3 games has given up only 19 points, only 1 touchdown, and they're very proud of this tough defense, and the Cowboys just picking it apart on the ground in the air.
Tony Dorsett now comes into the game with Walker splitting wide to the right, but Dorsett in at tailback on 2nd down and a long 2. And it's Dorsett taking the flip, out-racing Collins and getting the 1st down inside the 20-yard line. Stopped by Gray and Stewart. An impressive Dallas opening drive.
2 rookies in that offensive line, too. Kevin Gogan over on the right side, a rookie from Washington. As we watch from the end zone, Darryl Smith, number 79, over on the left side. You see Smith with a good block protecting Pelleur, gets it out on a little kind of a screen, a little one-man screen, as Kevin Gogan, the rookie, is out in front. Gets the block. Dorsett gets the 1st down.
So the Cowboys have marched 63 yards already on this drive. 1st and 10. Walker is now slotted, and he goes in motion from the 17-yard line. And the handoff goes to Timmy Newsom. His first carry of the night takes him to the 16-yard line for a gain of 1. He is stopped by Doug Reed. Newsom, good average. He's the fullback, carries the ball sparingly. That's only his 22nd carry of the year. And as you see, he's averaging 5.3, so you can't forget about him.
He became the fullback back when Hershel Walker became the tailback against New England 5 weeks ago. And he's a good blocker, but he's a fine receiver out of that backfield. With Walker and Newsom both in there, we've got a couple of threats.
2nd and 9, and a big hole with Dorsett taking it down to the 7-yard line. Tony Dorsett, who has to play second fiddle now to Hershel Walker. Dorsett has been very sparingly used over the last month since Walker moved into the starting lineup.
And again, Frank talked about the fullback. It's Timmy Newsom who comes in out of the I formation, gets the block. Carl Eckern out of the play, and again, it's the Ram safeties that have to come up and make the play. And if that's the way it's going to be tonight for Los Angeles, Dorsett, Walker, and company are going to have a lot of success. A very impressive opening drive for the Cowboys.
The Rams are coming off a shutout of Atlanta last week. Right now, Dallas has driven down the field, 1st and goal. And it's Dorsett taking it to the 1-yard line. And Tony's already carried 3 times for a total of 24 yards.
And Al, my initial reaction was to say, well, this isn't Atlanta they're playing, until I remember that Atlanta beat Dallas.
Right.
Puts Tony Dorsett over 12,000. And I'll tell you, that's pretty lofty company as we watch again. Is the little man from Pittsburgh, been around 11 years, been a tough year for him emotionally, living with Hershel Walker as it was a year ago. But there he is, over 12,000. That's truly remarkable.
Only Peyton, Jim Brown, and Franco Harris are over 12,000 as well, as Walker takes it in for the score. And the Cowboys shred the Ram defense on a very impressive 80-yard opening drive. Newsome leads the way. Walker goes in. Dorsett helps to set it up. Cosbie makes a key catch along the way, and Dallas leads 6-0.
It was that easy.
Oh, what a picture-perfect block by Newsome. Watch Timmy Newsome in motion. He's going to come upfield and down to the ground. That's Nolan Cromwell, and that makes it look easy. Timmy Newsome, give him the credit. Hershel Walker ought to thank him when he gets over the bench. That might have been Newsome's hand right there.
Roger Ruzek has not missed an extra point this season. He's 21 of 21. Pelleur puts it down, and Ruzek boots it through. And the Cowboys go 80 yards in 10 plays and lead 7-0 with 8:17 to play in the first quarter at Anaheim. Team methodically drive the length of the field to take a 7-0 lead with 8:17 to play in the first quarter. Cowboys will not be going to the playoffs. The Rams still have hope. They trail here 7-0, and Ruzek's kick comes down to the 1-yard line. Ron Brown, 10, 20, 30, out past the 40 and upended at the 46-yard line by the kicker, Ruzek.
Well, Ruzek gets credit for the tackle, but it was Michael Downs, number 26, that slowed him down, a 45-yard return. But Michael Downs slowed Brown down, or that might have been it. About 20 yards before Ruzek got in on it. We're going to see Michael Downs be the guy that really slows him down, Frank.
There's the wedge, big opening, and the great speedster, the Olympic gold medalist in the 4x100 relay, and 84 turns on the speed, and we know he can bring him back. He's done that several times in his career already.
So the Rams have it at the 46-yard line, and Charles White over the left side and finds nothing, and he's wrapped up by Steve Diassi, the 4th-year linebacker out of Boston College. And we touched on their injuries, and that's why Diassi is in there starting tonight. Meanwhile, take a look at Jim Everett, and his fortunes parallel the Rams. The average per pass in the league is about 7 yards per pass for a quarterback. As you can see, Everett not very good through the first 6 games, and the Rams not very good. But over the last 4, all of which the Rams have won, he's averaged 10.1 yards per pass, which is a terrific average.
2 weeks ago, he had his first 300-yarder against Detroit.
2nd and 9, and Everett gets dumped. Randy White, in his 13th season out of Maryland, and a man who can't practice because of a bad neck, winds up on Everett's neck for the sack.
There's a pinched nerve in the neck, and sometimes it's so severe for Randy. I mean, when he gets down into a 3-point stance, and watching number 54, and he puts his head up to look at the man across from him, as he does here against Doug Smith before releasing to make the sack, well, sometimes his arms will start to go numb. And that's a very tough situation. It's hard to improve with any kind of a therapy, and there is a whole lot of concern about Randy White's future physically.
Randy's first sack in the last 5 games, a good indication of how he's been hurt.
3rd and 17 from the 39-yard line, and over the middle to the tight end Johnson to the 41 for a first down. Damone Johnson, and his availability will be limited tonight. He too has been banged up, which is one reason David Hill started, but he comes in a passing situation and gets open over the middle.
You know, we were talking about Jim Everett a moment ago, his statistics, but more than statistics, when you watched him on that last play, he dropped back, looked one way, he set up, there was nothing tentative about it, fired the completion, and he looked like he knew exactly what he was doing. We have not seen that before.
20-yard gain. Everett is 3 for his first 3. And from the 42-yard line, Everett goes to the wide receiver, Ellard, who drops the ball. Now, that's something that has plagued the Rams, or did early on in the season. Ellard and Brown were dropping a lot of balls, but not so of late.
I remember the Monday night game in Cleveland where Jim Everett got no help at the beginning of the ball game. And talking to John Robinson this morning about Ellard, about Ron Brown, remember he told us Ernie Zampese, he said, I wish I could just bring Charlie Joyner into our practices for a month so our guys involved in the passing game could see his work ethic, to see how he approaches every practice, every catch, every ball that comes his way is do or die. A receiver's got to think that way 24 hours a day.
It's an old cliche, but a good one. You practice, play like you practice.
On 2nd and 10, going for Gulman, who was covered one-on-one by the linebacker Diassi, but too deep. Not a couple of Olympic sprinters in that matchup there.
You like to get that matchup of a running back on a linebacker, but not necessarily when it's Mike Gulman. Diassi might be the right linebacker to pick on. He's not real fleet of foot, but if he's slow, Mike Gulman might be slower.
Playing with a very bad ankle, too. He couldn't go last week, and they had to put a rookie in there, Ron Burton, who everyone seemed to think on the Cowboys organization did a fine job, a rookie free agent out of North Carolina.
Go, 3rd and 10 now. Rams at the 42. Dallas leads 7-0. 6:15 to play in the period. Fake to White. And then Everett throws to the 22-yard line to Brown. And Brown takes it inside the 15.
The toughest part of being a cornerback is coming up and trying to make that tackle after the catch. And that time Ron Francis came up a little short.
There was a safety blitz. You saw number 22, Victor Scott. And when you are a rookie, you've been watching Ron Brown many times, many years. With that great speed, you're going to be very careful when you're man for man. And with the blitz, that's exactly what Ron Francis was.
Gain of 29, 1st and 10. Rams at the Dallas 12 with Gulman in motion and White on a sweep. And Charles takes it down to the 8-yard line. Gulman led the way as he took out Bill Bates. A gain of about 4. It'll be 2nd and 6.
That time Steve Diassi got over from the inside. Let's look at it from ground level. There comes Gulman, 44 on Bates. He does his job, kicks him to the outside, but it was strung out pretty good. The Cowboys that time flowed to the hole. Ed Jones at the point of attack, shut it down. Cowboys are doing a little stamping, but it's the Rams looking to tie it.
2nd and 6 with both Ellard and Brown split to the left. White is the tailback. Ellard comes in motion, and it's Charlie White. Touchdown.
A modest little hole off right tackle.
Jackie Slater, one of the best in the business over on the right side. They're doing it without Dennis Harrah at right guard tonight. They're Duval Love in there as we look again. Big opening. Jackie Slater doing a tremendous job against Ed Jones, turning to the outside. And Dan, you played against him so many times, Ed Jones. That's not the easiest thing to do.
Well, did you see the look? Watch Slater. Gives him a pass set. You see him come up out of his stance. Makes it look like a pass. Jones takes 2 steps upfield, and Ed's out of the play. Smart play that time at Slater.
And Charlie White, a free run into the end zone as Lansford ties the game with 5:23. The Cowboys that time looked like they were lined up in a glasnost defense. It's all right. Roger Staubach, the longtime Dallas Cowboy quarterback.
Boy, has he been difficult to follow for this man, Danny White. He came in, replaced him, and went to 3 NFC championship games. That wasn't quite it. He never really was accepted, and very talented young man now with a very delicate right wrist.
Mike Lansford kicks off, and it's a short bouncing kick fielded at the 10-yard line by Darryl Flack. And Flack, who broke off a good one against Washington last week to help get Dallas back into the game, takes it to the 31-yard line. Now, coming up Friday, and that's Christmas Day, the Kelly Tire Blue-Gray Football Classic. The All-Star game coming from Montgomery. And then the Bruins of UCLA with Troy Aikman and Gaston Green take on the Florida Gators in the Eagle Aloha Bowl. Then Friday, January 1st in the Florida Citrus Bowl, it's Penn State taking on Clemson. Your day begins with that one, followed by the USF&G Sugar Bowl. Don McPherson in Syracuse against the Auburn Tigers. Pelleur on 1st and 10 from the 31-yard line. Gets great protection, throws, Walker makes the catch, And he's written down by Owens.
Oh, what a great throw by Pelleur. Rams typically in their zone defense, and Pelleur had to loft it over the underneath man, and he did it absolutely beautifully. And again, good protection, but watch Pelleur. He sits back with a lot of time, gets a good block from the rookie over in the right side, and just puts it right over the outstretched arms of Mel Owens, but give Kevin Gogan a lot of credit. Good block to give Pelleur the protection.
1st and 10, Cowboys at the 49-yard line. With Cosbie in motion. Nice block by Newsome for Walker as he takes it out of bounds at the 44-yard line. Newsome helping to lead the way.
This is Timmy Newsome on Nolan Cromwell again, I believe. Cromwell coming up for support, but there's Cosby's block. But watch Timmy Newsome on Cromwell, and he's making a habit out of this, putting number 21 on the ground, and Hershel, the beneficiary, around the corner. And hey, Hershel Walker just couldn't get it much easier than that. Picks up nice yardage and doesn't even take a lick. Steps out of bounds, but no contact whatsoever. And Timmy boy, you're killing him.
Big man, he goes over 230.
2nd and 3 at the 44. That's Ron Barksdale, the sprinter, in motion. And Walker with a flag down. It's the first penalty of the game. He takes it to the 42-yard line.
I don't know if the umpire meant to hit Tom Rafferty with the flag, but it was a pretty good toss. It hit Tom Rafferty, I think, right in the chest as he was turning around. We'll see if the umpire is a good aim or if he was just throwing it in the general direction of the middle of the line.
Holding 64. Offense 10 yards.
Good aim.
Still 2nd down.
Boy, that's where an official gets vindictive. It's tough enough to call the penalty, but hit the guy with the flag. That's adding a little insult to injury here.
We mean you.
Tom is really the stabilizer of that offensive line. Been around for 12 years. Look at him right in the middle, number 64. Does a pretty good job working on Greg Meisner. And then he gets the flag right in the back.
Yeah, you talk about an in-your-face call. 2nd and 13, and it's Pelleur doing what he does so well, able to escape, turn a loss into a gain down to the 45-yard line, and it'll be 3rd down and 4.
That's something the Cowboys always knew that Steve Pelleur could do. He's very mobile. He's a big, strong kid. He's 6'4", 208 pounds, and as you see, he's a very effective rusher. He's not that easy to sack in the backfield. His problems have been inconsistency in throwing the football. And really, his toughest thing to overcome is a lot of the people in the Cowboy organization feel he's not aggressive enough. He's not enough of a leader. That's what they'd like to see more of from Steve Pelleur, a take-charge guy, as we see Kevin Cogan take charge and start a couple beats early. But again, talking about Pelleur, they'd like to see, I guess, Al, simply a little more fire in his eye.
They feel that he is, as the term goes, laid back.
Start. Offense, number 66, 5 yards, still 3rd down.
There's a difference between being laid back and, let's say, loosey-goosey, because you talk about somebody like a Don Meredith. There was a guy who was loosey-goosey, but a leader as well. But for Pelleur, they just want to see him be a little bit more fiery.
Don loosey-goosey.
You tell me.
About as loose as they come.
One thing Steve Pelleur has to be well aware of, and I'm sure he is, that the people's choice in Dallas is Kevin Sweeney, who quarterbacked the Cowboys during the replacement game.
3rd down, 9 from the 50, from the shotgun. Pelleur with the protection, breaking down, gets sacked. Number 91, Kevin Green.
That time, the guy that got beat was Kevin Gogan, the right tackle. Pretty bad series there for Gogan. Offsides the play before, false start, and then this time, Green gets around the corner and comes in and gets the sack on Pelleur. Gogan had a rough week last week in Washington. Charles Mann beat him 3 times.
Mike Saxon to punt, his first kick of the night, coming with 3:13 left in the first period. Game time at 7. Henry Ellard is back to receive from the 13-yard line. Ellard can't get outside and gets dumped back at the 11-yard line. Dropped by Burton and Penn after a 42-yard punt. Tied at 7. 2 or less they haven't won. And when they've scored 27 or more points in a game, they're 6-0. 20 points or fewer, 0-7.
Frank, you played on a lot of teams that had excellent defensive units. I mean, there are just times you have to win those games where you only score 10 or 13 points. The defense has got to come through.
And you usually find the teams that are in the Super Bowl playing for championships are the teams with the defensive units that will win those games for you. The Rams have a superb defense, and they have just watched their offense over the past few weeks come together, and they've won the 5 straight. So they're playing the kind of football you like to see them play.
Rams 1st and 10 from their own 12-yard line. Charles White. Fumble! And recovered by Dallas. Jeff Rohrer recovers as Jesse Penn knocked it loose. And so the first big break of the game belongs to the Cowboys. And he's able to hold on to it just before it crossed the sideline.
Yeah, the guy that makes it happen is Jesse Penn right here. Watch him beat the block of the tight end, work down the line of scrimmage. Charlie White, they're going to meet right here, and out the football is going to come. This is the way an outside linebacker has got to beat the tight end. Force him into the ground, the hat right on the football. David Hill was the tight end. Penn makes the good play, and look at that. Served up. The Cowboys deep in LA territory.
Nice play by Rohrer as well to make sure he was fully in bounds.
But that is the way an outside linebacker, talking about Jesse Penn, plays the block of the tight end and gets in and makes the play.
From the 24-yard line, it's Pelleur under pressure, tries to set up the screen to Walker, and it's Irvin who breaks through to break it up back at the 27-yard line for a loss of 3. Leroy Irvin, much like the Rams, a disastrous start to the season. They suspended him 1 week. They put him on the inactive list another week. He was very upset about his contract, wanted to renegotiate, wanted to be traded, and now all of a sudden he's turned it around and he's playing very well.
He's been playing great, and certainly very strong Pro Bowl possibility again, but he just beat that screen. Read it very quickly and no hesitation, lots of confidence, beat the screen, got inside of it, and made the stop.
From the 27, 2nd down and 13. Short gain over the middle as the catch is made at the 24-yard line by Mike Renfro, the wide receiver, who was underneath to make the catch for a gain of about 3 and back to the original line of scrimmage. 3rd down.
And underneath is a big word when you're talking about playing the Rams defensively. Guys like Renfro know that the Rams drop back into that deep zone. They're going to give you that 5, 6, 7-yard pass all the time because they want 2 guys to come up, put the hit on the receiver, hope that he coughs up the ball. You're going to see that all night. Question is whether Steve Pelleur is patient enough to work underneath over and over again.
Pelleur is 5 for 5. It's 3rd and 10. Pelleur throwing, man open, caught, 1st down, 13-yard line, Kelvin Martin. Martin was able to get outside Mickey Sutton and just does stay in bound and comes up limping.
Let's see how close this is. This is the angle to watch it from behind Steve Pelleur. A little low on the shotgun snap, but notice again the mobility. And Kelvin Martin, beautiful play on his part. Both knees solidly on the ground. Came back to the football, and Kelvin Martin at only 5'9". Easy enough to get down low on that one. Good throw by Pelleur, who, by the way, has looked awful good.
1st and 10, Dallas at the 13-yard line. 1:19 to play in the period. A 7-7 tie. Pelleur rolling, chase, loses the ball but out of bounds as it winds up in the official's hands after he was hit by Mel Owens. Still Dallas's football.
Now the dimension of Steve Pelleur we talked about earlier, he'll move out of the pocket. He's not a bit concerned about running the football either. And his receiver in the end zone, Renfro, I believe, had made an out pattern. He was covered well by Jerry Gray. Pelleur pulls it down and picks up 4 yards out of it. Danny White, who performed well against Washington last week, over 350 yards passing. He's watching the youngster Pelleur. Obviously, Cowboys in a rebuilding mode, whether they talk it or not, looking for players of the future.
2nd down and 6 with Cosbie going in motion. And the handoff on the inside to Hershel Walker, who takes it down to the 7-yard line.
Well, this sets up an interesting call for Dallas now. Tom Rafferty checks back in at center for the Cowboys, and this is an area of the field where, in this situation, Dallas likes to go into the shotgun formation, but they're not afraid to run it out of there either. Tom Landry kind of originated the running plays out of the shotgun formation, and they'll do it as easy as pass in this situation. But looks like Pelleur is coming all the way up underneath.
He likes rollouts down here also, and he got the play a little late. Pelleur did, and time was running out on his 30-second clock. He knew he wouldn't get it off. You saw him step into the huddle trying to get the play in a little more quickly from the bench. You see Tom Landry on the sidelines. Landry is talking to Paul Hackett, the offensive coordinator, now in his second year on that telephone when he's on the phone. And also Jim Erkenbach, the offensive lineman. It's sort of a committee. That's the way they decide on the play that they're going to call.
Some confusion on Pelleur's part, because when he backed out from under center, there still was 7 seconds left on the 30-second clock. So that must tell you that there was a great deal of motion involved, which, of course, nothing new in the Dallas offensive scheme of things. But that's where that motion will get you in trouble, because you can't run the play until the guy gets in the proper position.
And you can't get out of it. Once you have called the play from the sidelines, you could automatic it, but he would not have had the time, and I don't think right now would have the courage to change out of a critical call that Tom Landry had sent in.
He didn't like the look of the Ram defense. The Rams went to their nickel package with Clifford Hicks in there, and Pelleur took one look over the line of scrimmage and asked for the timeout. Hershel Walker, if you joined us late, was the big story on the first drive as the Cowboys took the opening kickoff, or took their first possession at their own 20-yard line. Hershel Walker making a catch there for a long gain, and then bursting through the middle to take the Cowboys into Rams territory, and then finishing it off with this move into the end zone.
Another thing the Cowboys like to do, and particularly when they have a quarterback like Pelleur, or what Tom Landry likes to do, he likes to give his quarterback an option down here. He likes to bring him on a rollout, look for a receiver, and if he's not there, give him the option to also run the football.
Now the Rams take a timeout. Kevin Green, number 91, I don't know what he saw, but he went sprinting into the Cowboy backfield to call a timeout. They're not going to give it to him.
He said, I didn't want it, I guess.
Tunney says no timeout. It was simply an official's timeout. The Cowboys come up with 2 tight ends, 3rd down and 4 from the 7-yard line. Fake toss. Pelleur has room, and he can't outrun Jerry Gray. The fumble comes after he was out of bounds.
Well, the receiver that he was looking for, his option receiver, Renfro, in the end zone, was either knocked off his feet or slipped, and Pelleur on that rollout did not have the option that he wanted, and that is to be able to put it up in the air. He had to run it.
And that is a sensational play by Jerry Gray. Really showed some acceleration coming out from the inside. He was lined up on the slot on the inside, and I'm not sure whether or not Jerry had contained on that play, but if he didn't, he sure covered for somebody that made a mistake.
Because for a split second, it looked like Pelleur was going to have smooth sailing into that end zone when he rolled right. There was nobody there, but Gray got the angle, is able to knock him down, and now Roger Ruzek to attempt a 24-yard field goal. Pelleur to hold. Is good. Roger Ruzek, who lost his job in training camp. He was kicking at Thousand Oaks in the summer, released, and then they brought him back 2 weeks later. He's won the job, and he's done a nice job this season, and he's just given Dallas a 3-point advantage with 24 seconds to go in the quarter.
Jerry Gray lined up in the slot. Now the Ram corner is going to go into the end zone. When he sees the play, he's going to fall down. Pelleur is going to make the fake and make the break. Even though Gray's inside, watch him accelerate back to the outside and make this play. If Jerry Gray doesn't get it, see him go all the way to the inside.
That's Renfro, top of your screen. You can see what happened to Renfro. Now, he was the option for Pelleur. You either run or hit Renfro, and Renfro got all tangled up with Michael Stewart, tripped up, and down he went.
But on the run, that was fine because he had Stewart on the ground in the end zone. If Gray doesn't make the quick reaction, get back out in there, Pelleur is going to dance into the end zone untouched.
He made a Pro Bowl play, and that's what he is, a Pro Bowl player. Jerry Gray, they have him on either corners. Jerry Gray and Leroy Irvin. It's kind of interesting that they were Pro Bowlers last year ago because they play so much zone defense, and you really don't stand out that much, but these two have.
Normally, teams that have corners, the talent of Irvin and Gray, are more inclined to get locked up in some man coverage because that's how you really exploit the talents of two corners like that. But the Rams have a system. It doesn't matter what kind of man-to-man coverage those corners are. They're going to play that deep zone regardless of who lines up on the corners.
John Robinson's system, and we will not vary.
No.
And it works.
Yeah, I guess it does.
24 seconds to play, first quarter. Dallas on top 10-7. Roger Ruzek kicks off, and Ron Brown takes it at the 1. The Olympic sprinter brings this one back out to the 18-yard line, and the tackle is made by Everson Walls. It was Ron Brown, you'll recall, in a Monday night game last month in Washington, running a kickoff back for a touchdown. And here comes Everett and the Rams. And again, if you joined us late, the Rams are still alive and they're hopes for a playoff berth. They have to win tonight. Then they need Washington to beat Minnesota, St. Louis to knock off Dallas next week, and then they have to beat, the Rams do, the San Francisco 49ers next Sunday night. If all those things happen, the Rams are a wild card. From the 18, Everett gets sacked back at the 8 as Too Tall Jones, who had 4 sacks in the Monday night game on the 1st of November in Dallas and hasn't had a sack since, gets Everett here.
And Too Tall just lines up in his left end position. Here's Big Ed Jones. This is Jackie Slater, and nothing more but a simple outside move. He beats Slater to the corner. I don't know if Jackie Slater was too preoccupied with taking away the inside, but he set too far back to the inside, and Ed Jones does 2 things. Takes down Jim Everett and leg whips Jim Jeffcoat at the same time.
Into the quarter, we'll return to Anaheim after this message and a word from your local station. Second quarter, 2nd and 20 for the Rams. And Charles White tries to give them some breathing room out to the 14-yard line. He goes, and he is stopped there by Kevin Brooks. Now there is the run back specialist, Kelvin Edwards, with a sprained right ankle, and they'll check him out at halftime and see about his immediate future.
Doesn't look promising, though, does it?
Nope.
Elevate the ankle, apply the ice. When a guy's not up walking around on it, extremely doubtful. We'll see Martin back in the second quarter. Edwards, rather. Kelvin Edwards, number 81.
3rd and 15 now. Everett sets up the screen for White, but that's busted up by Victor Scott, number 22, who breaks through the blocking and knocks him down.
Victor Scott, they wanted to look at a great deal tonight, along with the other safety, Vince Albright. But look at Randy White. Now, we were told not to expect to see too much of Randy White because of that pinched nerve in his neck tonight. And there, all he does is just barrel through Newberry, who was trying to get a little help from Pankey.
Hatcher's kick is taken at the 41 by Kelvin Martin. And Martin is tackled at the 48. Tim Terrell makes a stop, and so from midfield will Dallas begin its next drive. The Cowboys on top by 3. Be illustrated here. There are the men who have gained in one season 700 yards rushing and 700 yards receiving as well. Some pretty good names there. Charlie Taylor and William Andrews, Marcus Allen. There is the list of 7. Nobody has done it twice, but Walker is almost a lock because there are his figures for this season. So he is on the verge of becoming the first man in the history of the NFL to accomplish this on 2 occasions.
And he was doing it in a season when he was sharing so much of the duty early in the season with Tony Dorsett.
And there are his numbers tonight. By the way, when you look at that graphic, it really hammers home what Roger Craig did in '85 when he was over 1,000 yards both rushing and receiving. The only guy to do that.
First down, Dallas from its own 47-yard line. And it's Walker taking it right to the 50.
And it's interesting, too, to realize that it was Paul Hackett who was with those 49ers as an offensive coordinator, who is now with the Cowboys when Roger Craig did it. He is now with the Cowboys. So what you're seeing is a reflection not only of Paul Hackett, but of Bill Walsh and the San Francisco 49ers, which is not a bad idea for any team to get involved in that kind of offense. Good point, Frank.
Walker, as you can see, carrying the ball
times per game since he moved into the starting lineup. And there's Dorsett, who gets tackled back at the 47. Dorsett, meanwhile, since he was moved to the bench, has carried the ball coming into this one just 23 times in the Cowboys' prior 5 games. So as you can see, Tony is on the shelf and pretty much on the edge in terms of his future.
Well, he got no help that time from his offensive line. Jim Collins just came on a straightaway run blitz and just ran right over Nate Newton, the left guard, and Tony Dorsett didn't have a chance on that play. I mean, he didn't even get close to the line of scrimmage. Lucky he got within a foot of it all on his own.
3rd down and 10 from the 47-yard line. And Pelleur has to step up, escapes a tackle, and then at the 40-yard line, the catch is made by Mike Renfro. And he's tackled there by Clifford Hicks after Kevin Green had his arm on Pelleur, but he was able to escape, get the pass away, and pick up the first.
But you know what Tom Landry is going to tell Pelleur? He's going to tell him you didn't have to leave the pocket. The protection really didn't break down. I mean, we saw Reed being ridden upfield. That was a case of Pelleur really not seeing what he wanted to see, and Frank, rather than sit in there and wait till the end, he takes off.
Pelleur having a perfect night. He is 7 for 7. Cowboys at the Ram 40. They lead by 3. Walker tries to spin one way, breaks a tackle, breaks a second tackle. A flag goes down, and so does Hershel.
We may see a face mask, because I didn't see any other defender around that could have caused anything else. Might have been Michael Stewart. Yes, that's going to be the call against the Rams. Let's see if it was Stewart, number 23. We'll take a look at it, I'm sure, after we get the call.
Face mask, 5 yards. Number 23, defense.
It is Michael Stewart getting the face mask call, and a good look at it here from the end zone.
Interesting as we watch it again. Little play action. Pelleur looking deep. The deep receiver covered. And how many times have you seen Roger Craig in the same position? The secondary receiver out of the backfield, but the one you know you're going to get the completion with, high percentage like it was and is with the 49ers, and this is what the Cowboys are using so much of.
And a good look at how Walker forced that penalty by his spin back to the inside. That was a darn good effort that time by Hershel Walker.
Penalty gives him a first down, and there should be illegal motion here as Newsom was moving forward, and that will negate the run by Walker. And the Cowboys were out of sync from the inception of that play.
Negate a terrific block on the part of Newsom also. Chopping that nose tackle, who takes a tremendous pounding with that back, and we see so much of it nowadays, Dan, that back of the tight end riding in on him.
2 men moving, number 84 and 34, still first down.
Well, in reality, it was 84 and 30 were the two guys that were in motion at the same time. Here's Doug Cosbie on the outside. Here's Timmy Newsom. Cosby's going to go forward. Newsom's going to go to his left. Both of them will be moving at the snap of the football. Whoa, no, they're not. Ooh, look at that. Cosbie got back and got set by the time the ball was snapped.
He seemed to.
Sure looked like it from that angle, like he was back and set.
1st and 15, and here's Dorsett. Ridden down at the 28-yard line by Mel Owens. Back to pretty close to the original line of scrimmage. With 10 minutes and 35 seconds to play in the first half. Cowboys on top, 10-7.
All those years, over 12,000 yards tonight. Needed a little over 130 yards coming into tonight's game to catch Franco Harris. About 320 yards or so to catch Jim Brown. Of course, Walter Payton is out of sight.
You saw the graphic before. He's the 2nd oldest running back in the league. Tony Galbraith, who's a specialist with the Giants, is the oldest. Dorsett goes to the outside, and Cromwell rides him down at the 25-yard line. Nolan coming up from his safety spot. And the Cowboys will have upcoming a 3rd and about 7 now. Dorsett still has 2 years remaining on his contract. He knows he can't be the starting running back with Walker healthy at Dallas, and so there's a decision to be made, I guess, on both ends, the Cowboys and Dorsett himself.
And of course, you don't trade 12-year veteran running backs. They're like fighter pilots in terms of longevity.
Well, you don't trade them because of that monster contract.
And nobody really wants them. They've been around that long.
I get the feeling the Dallas Cowboys want him. I think they'd like Tony to accept that role and honor those 2 years.
On 3rd and 6, Pelleur lost it for Renfro, out of bounds. Jim Collins put the pressure on Pelleur, forcing him to loft it. And Clifford Hicks was back covering on the play, and that's Pelleur's first incomplete pass of the game, and it brings in Ruzek for the field goal attempt.
And looking at the coverages involved on that pass play, it really was about as well thrown as Pelleur could throw it. Anything back to the inside of the field is going to be intercepted. That's just one of those plays where you've got a primary receiver. The play is built around that one receiver. You have no choice but to air it out, and Pelleur put the ball where it's either going to be a spectacular grab for a touchdown or what it was, an incompletion.
42-yard attempt with Pelleur holding at the 32-yard line. Rams have been proficient in blocking kicks this season. Not here, though. It's long enough and good. So Ruzek has been perfect tonight. 2 for 2 plus an extra point. And there's a flag down. So let's wait and see what Tunney's call is. He's talking to the Cowboys, indicating it's against the Rams.
I think they ran into the kicker. There may be a roughing the kicker here. It might have been Jerry Gray who got a foot in the face.
And now Dallas might have the option of taking 3 points off the board to get a first down and keep the drive going.
That'll be an automatic first down. Jerry Gray rushed from the top of the formation. Let's get this call from Jim Tunney after he's done walking.
Now here the question is for Dallas, do you want to take the 3 and make it 13-7 or make it 10-7 with a first down after a 42-yard field goal?
It's tough to take those points off the board once you put them up there, particularly when you're out at the 25-yard line. I guess it's made easier when you're 5-8 on the season.
Was on changing the rule. Dallas requested they take the 3 points, and that is accepted. Field goal counts.
So there was a penalty, but they will not take the points off the board.
Watch Jerry Gray right there. Watch him get the foot right in the shoulder, his right shoulder. But even though it looks like Gray was the guy that took the lick, you cannot make contact with the kicker when he has his leg in the air.
He's so vulnerable, and that's why the rule, even though it looks like it could be against the kicker.
The Cowboys really wanted to take the first down and take the points off the board. But when Jim Tunney, the official, came to the middle of the field, you heard him say, and there's the audio if we can pick this up here.
Well, watch Pelleur talk to Landry. Tom's saying, why didn't you take the first down?
Well, Tunney said there was a discussion about changing the rule. What he meant was a discussion about changing the decision. They made the decision, and then they wanted to change it, and they couldn't. It's 13-7. That's the bottom line as Terrell runs it back. And a flag is down back at the 35-yard line, meaning that one of the Cowboys was offside on the kick.
Kicking team.
Well, somebody has to explain to me, well, they don't have to, but it would be nice, where on the Dallas team did that decision come from to take the 3 points?
In decline.
All right, we'll get this out of the way. But I mean, hey, you're talking about a ball club that has a 5-8 record. Why do you not take the automatic first down that comes with roughing the kicker and go for it? You have no pressure to take a field goal. I mean, that's a terrible decision by whoever made it.
Obviously, Tom wanted to do just that. There's just a communication between Tom and Pelleur.
From the 28-yard line, 1st and 10, Los Angeles, trailing now by 6. And Charles White brings it out to the 31-yard line. He is stopped by the middle linebacker, Steve Diassi, number 55.
Well, I can only say this, and then we'll let it rest, but if Steve Pelleur made that decision on his own to leave the 3 points on the board and refuse the penalty, he's feeling pretty heady of
well, two things. Either he wasn't aware it was a first down, or maybe he just interpreted the decision from the bench as being take the 3.
Either way.
Well, at 5-8, probably the only reason you would do it. It's not a bad call. You put 3 points up on the board. A lot of things could happen by the time you got it into the end zone, or another 3 points.
2nd and 7 from the 31-yard line, and it's Everett off balance, throwing into traffic, and is lucky it wasn't picked off by Jeff Rohrer, intended for the tight end, David Hill, who doesn't catch many passes.
Jeff Rohrer came a long way for that one, and Everett had just a lot of float on that ball. Let's take a look at it.
Yeah, maybe John Elway can run all the way back across the field. Look at that ball kind of dropping in there. That was not a bullet by any sense of the word, and maybe John Elway gets away with that pass, but Jimmy Everett got away with it barely. That was almost an interception. Tough pass for a quarterback to throw. Running to his right, giving ground, and then off of his heels to try to throw back across field. Not in this league. That doesn't work very often.
3rd and 7 now from the 30-yard line. Pressured again. Everett throws off balance. Well out of bounds. Intended for Kevin House. And that time again it was Jeffcoat putting the pressure on. We saw Jeffcoat have a big night in that Monday game against the Giants on November 2nd, but he's been pretty silent since.
Look at him take the inside on Irv Pankey, number 75. Newberry comes out to try to help, but still good move that time by Jim Jeffcoat, who's feeling the heat in Dallas. Only 2 sacks so far this year. Keep in mind, that's a guy that had 14 sacks last year.
Hatcher's kick floats to the 25-yard line. Kelvin Martin to the 35, and a good run back as Martin goes out of bounds at the 42-yard line. Run out by Richard Brown, rookie out of San Diego State. And there is a marker down, all the way down at the 38-yard line.
You know, it's almost impossible to get a run like that these days without a flag on the field.
And that flag is thrown up 20 yards from where the play ended. 20 yards
Ineligible
downfield.
player, number 52, downfield illegally, is declined.
And that's why, because it was Larry Kelm leaving early.
Well, it's nice to see that the Cowboys were able to put together a productive punt return without some sort of a penalty.
Meanwhile, no team in the history of this league has gotten to the playoffs after beginning 1-7. The Rams are trying to do it. Closest any team has come in 1970. The Bengals started 1-6 in Cincinnati and wound up in the playoffs.
Yeah, but there's never been a year quite like 1987.
From the 42, it's Walker.
Hershel Walker.
Run out of bounds at the 47 after a gain of 5. It takes a bunch of them to stop him.
He has power that you don't even feel a sense up here. I mean, it makes it look so easy. A little bit like Jim Brown used to carry tacklers.
I guess he just didn't want to get dirty. I guess he just didn't feel like getting dirty on this play.
Has Newsom out in front again.
It's not very good blocking. I mean, Doug Cosbie there gets driven back into the play. Newsom puts a pretty good block on Stewart, but look at this, folks.
I mean, that never does go down.
Kind of helpless, I think, Michael Stewart confronting Hershel Walker nose to nose and taking 3 or 4 shots at the guy, and he's impervious.
2nd and 5. Pressure on. Pelleur throws into traffic, and it's incomplete at the 47-yard line. Kevin Green that time came bursting through.
Yeah, they'll take that one out of the playbook as soon as they look at the tape on that one. Middle screen. It's a little dangerous, number 1, and the Rams read it all the way.
It was Jim Collins who was unmolested.
Any number of things could have happened, and they would have all been bad.
And Kevin Green was able to help dislodge the football from Hershel Walker's tentative grasp, and it's 3rd down and 5 now at the 47-yard line. 7:49 to play in the half. Dallas on top 13-7. Cosbie in motion. Pelleur hit as he throws, incomplete, intended for Renfro, and he was hit by number 65, Fred Stokes. And John Robinson thinks Stokes can be a big pass rusher for him in the future.
And I think Stokes was clear down on the ground and was able to get back up off of the turf and get in and get that hit on Steve Pelleur.
He's a rookie out of Georgia Southern, plays on passing downs, and Robinson likes the progress he's made.
Of course, the Rams are missing Sean Miller, who's not playing tonight. He's got 6 sacks for the Rams. A guy like Stokes is helping fill in.
Miller missing his 8th straight game with an ankle injury. Saxon's kick. Ellard at the 16-yard line and starts to slip as he runs it back and returns it to the 17, tackled by Ron Burton. 7:35 to go in the half. Dallas on top by 6. Just about a 2-1 margin.
And going into the game, we would have thought that would have been exactly the opposite. The Rams, with the big offensive line, were looking to be in the ball control tonight.
1st and 10 Rams from their own 17-yard line. White. Flag. He gets out to the 23-yard line.
Right there where you usually get the holding call. And Charlie White is playing with a very sore foot. You can't detect it because, like John Robinson, his coach said, it doesn't hurt quite so much when he runs as it does when he walks, but nevertheless it is painful. And the league's leading rusher has taken quite a pounding since replacing Dickerson is playing with a very sore foot tonight.
Let's see who's going to be the lucky recipient of this holding call.
67, offense, half the distance to the goal line.
Jackie Slater working on Too Tall Jones. Ed gets back into the play, but it's Duval Love, the right guard, number 67, who's lucky enough to get his name mentioned on Monday Night Football.
As he replaces Dennis Harrah.
What a lucky life the offensive lineman leads. Get your brains beat out an entire game and get singled out for a holding call. Some fun life.
It's 1st and 18. The penalty half the distance to the goal line, and White moves it out to the 13-yard line. Stopped by Steve the Aussie. Ernie Staudner,
defensive coordinator. He's talking upstairs with Dick Nolan, signaling the defense's end. Former great with the Pittsburgh Steelers, Hall of Famer.
I think defensive signals have to be easier than offensive signals. But let's be realistic. Defensive players aren't as smart as offensive guys, and therefore the signals would have to be a lot less complicated.
I understand the prejudice.
2nd and 14 as Everett goes deep for Goulman. Goulman reaching for it, makes the catch at the 40-yard line.
What a catch!
Like Y.A. Tittle told me one time, you'd have been Del Shaffer, you've been coming back for it. Goulman, he's not the quickest out of the backfield. We've seen that already tonight, but again, a very versatile back. Good blocker, we've seen that tonight. Good heady football player. Gets himself tied up on the linebacker, Jeff Rohr, and keeps his eye on the football, extends, comes down with a great catch.
Oh, that was sensational. We saw Goulman, remember, in the first quarter, locked up one-on-one with Diassi, and the pass was overthrown. This time the pass was overthrown, but he left his feet and got it.
27-yard gain, and it's White now. And 1st and 10 from the 40 as White moves it out to the 46-yard line, and it was Goulman throwing the block to lead the way.
I'm sure after running 30 yards downfield, Mike Goulman didn't mind throwing himself to the ground and getting a little rest.
Charles White, his fortunes very much paralleling those of the Rams, whose season started so disastrously at 1-7, and it looked like they were going to wind up about 2-13 or 3-12. Instead, they're trying to extend a winning streak to 6. White gets hit at the line of scrimmage and then moves forward out to the 48-yard line, setting up a 3rd down and 2. He's hit down by Jim Jeffcoat.
Some kind of tough, Charlie White.
What a great year it's been with all his personal problems that have been talked about so much during the course of the year. Get an opportunity once again, and he has made the most of it. And I don't think anyone could be any more proud of it than his college coach, John Robinson. He loves to give him the football, and Charlie White loves to carry the football.
3rd down and 2 from the 48-yard line. And Everett to throw. And Everett looking for the 1st down on the ground and has it. As he gets across the 50 to the 49-yard line, he's stopped by Too Tall Jones after a 3-yard gain and a 1st down.
Well, the Rams that time had good protection up front. Here's Ed Jones. He's going to work his way all the way back upfield and fall back in to make the play, but really Jim Everett had a lot of time to dance around in the middle, and what had happened, the 4 Cowboy linemen can't put the heat on Everett, and the linebackers had dropped too deep, and it's to Ed Jones to make that play. If he doesn't do it, Everett easily picks up another 5 or 6.
1st down at the 49-yard line, and it's White for a gain of 3. Charles White, Heisman Trophy winner at USC, drafted by Cleveland. They had a passing and full-black oriented attack with Mike Pruitt, so he didn't play very much there. He had drug problems there. It looked like his career might be prematurely over, and when he was signed by the Rams, a lot of people felt it's just a John Robinson payback. He's just giving him a job. And here he is leading the league in rushing.
What did John Robinson tell us this morning? That's going to happen every year if he has his way. somebody from the Rams is either going to lead the league or be in the top 2 or 3.
2nd and 7, and Goulman gets hit hard at the 40-yard line by Victor Scott, who was involved in an auto accident in Dallas a couple of nights ago and took 6 stitches in his head.
He's one of 2 safety men we're going to see a lot of tonight, Victor Scott and Vince Albritton. As the Cowboys start to look at a lot of their younger personnel, they're going to bring out the sticks. And I think Hershel Walker maybe put it the best. He said, we're a team with a lot of old guys and a team with a lot of young guys and nothing in the middle.
Well, the guy who's on the bubble as far as Victor Scott is concerned is Michael Downs, who's been starting at free safety for the Cowboys for quite some time. As we see, it's only a couple of inches short. You know, Mike is only a 7-year player from Rice, and yet Victor Scott was really challenging him during training camp. And Michael Downs is going to be one of those guys going to have to fight for his job next year in camp. Bill Bates, as you say, Frank, the same way. You talk about a team in transition. Dallas is a club that still has an awful lot of old guys, and you have to wonder if maybe it's not going to be a while before they round the corner. It's not going to happen overnight.
Like Hershel put it, the ones they're missing are the in-betweens. The drafts from 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago that never paid off.
The guys who should be in the prime of their lives, the 26, 27, 28-year-old guys.
3rd and inches. L.A. at the 40-yard line. And it's Everett on a sneak for a first down to the 37.
Now that is an offensive line surge. When you need to pick up a first down on a quarterback sneak, that's the way to take everybody in a white shirt and just blow them off the line of scrimmage. There'll be no doubt about whether he got the first down here. Doug Smith leading the charge. Look at Danny Noonan, 73, just getting rolled back out of there. Newberry and Smith just fold him up like an accordion, and Jim Everett, needing 2 inches, gets about 3 yards.
Rams at the 37 now, trailing by 6, and White to the 30. And John Robinson loves the running game, always has, always will. He wants his tailback or ace running back, depending on the set, to carry the ball 25, 30 times a game. And he feels where you really win the game is in that 4th quarter when you wear down the defense. And he's got the guys who can do it with the offensive line and Charles White. 2-minute warning. Dallas leading by 6, but the Rams, there it is, 7 seasons, including 1 on injured reserve between 80 and 86. 1,378 yards. Right now, with a game and a half to play for him this season, he'd need 118 yards, well within his reach, to equal that mark. At the 30-yard line, it's 2nd down and a long 3. And here's White, who gets a short 3. So they're going to be about a yard shy of the first down, with 3rd down coming up, and Vince Albritton in on the tackle. Rams, with a minute and 47 to play in the half, have all of their timeouts remaining.
Get a sense, though, that the Rams are getting back to Robinson football, and that is peck, 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 and then really feature the running game. They got out of a hole deep in their own territory with a great catch by Goulman. They've kept this drive alive, and there's almost a feeling, a sense that offensive line now is beginning to blow the Cowboys out of there. And once they get going in that kind of mode, that's exactly what Robinson wants, and you can sense it.
3rd and a short 2, and Everett's going to throw again, as he did on a prior series, and into a lot of coverage. It's incomplete. Intended for Damone Johnson, but he was double covered on the play. Victor Scott was back there. And Everett really tried to thread the needle and couldn't, between Albritton and Scott, the safeties.
Well, you see Johnson, who was in the wing, just released, but draws double coverage right off the bat, and Jim Everett, with the play action, didn't get the kind of coverage that he was hoping for. Francis, Scott right there, and Everett had to release the ball before he had any idea, I think, that he was throwing into that type of coverage.
Francis able to bat it away in a 46-yard attempt now for Mike Lansford. With Steve Dills holding, Cowboys jump off, and the kick is good. And if the Cowboys were not drawn off, the Rams are going to have a chance to take some points off the board.
Well, they might have forced the Rams into flinching. This may go against Los Angeles.
Defense.
Oh, it did.
Now the Rams.
Your call. Oh, no question.
The Rams can have a first down and keep this drive alive, and Robinson enjoying the moment.
Well, we're going to see the white shirts move early. A question as to whether they came across the ball. That's Kevin Brooks.
26 was offside. 5 yards. Penalties accepted. First down.
Michael Downs was on the outside. You saw Brooks 99 on the inside, and where the Rams were pretty heady right there and alert when they saw that movement by the Cowboys. I think they snapped the football, timing it well when they were across the ball in the neutral zone.
It was 4th and 2. It's now 1st and 10. LA takes 3 points off the board. It's still 13-7. And it's White getting to the 21-yard line, stopped by Danny Noonan. And the Rams are going to take a timeout with 1:05 remaining in the half.
And playing for the chance to stay alive in the playoffs, there's no question the Rams take those 3 points off the board and attempt to get a touchdown and take the lead.
You know, and it's more than a pipe dream, Dan, for the Rams to get into the playoffs, because even though 4 things have to happen, they're pretty realistic. The Rams favored by over a touchdown tonight, so if they win, they're still alive.
Next week is the kicker for them, though.
There it is. The Vikings would have to lose to the Redskins, and that's a pretty important game to Washington as well. Even though they've clinched the NFC East, they're still thinking about home field advantage. The Cardinals would have to beat the Cowboys next Sunday, and the way the Cardinals are playing, they'll go in with St. Louis and Dallas, and then the Rams would go into that Sunday night game at 5 o'clock out here on the coast.
Of course, you asked him about that today. Ali said, I don't watch that. He said, I went Christmas shopping yesterday.
Yeah.
And by the way, the game's at Candlestick Park, and hey, it's not that tough to go in and win at Candlestick.
Yeah,
we found that out.
If you have a shotgun.
If you're the Pittsburgh Pirates, maybe. 2nd and 8 at the 20-yard line. And that's picked off by Jesse Penn. And Penn takes it from the 15 all the way out to the 36-yard line. And a scuffle along the sideline, and the Rams took 3 points off the scoreboard and wind up having a pass intercepted.
And it was Penn who replaced the injured Mike Hagman, who comes up with the interception.
Looks like it was Jim Everett over on the sidelines as a guy that starts this little fracas. He just throws that right into the arms of Jesse Penn, who didn't have to move. But watch it on the sideline. I think Everett's going to throw his right arm up there. Right there. Takes a shoulder and brings it right up underneath the chin. It really didn't. I don't know if that was quite as flagrant as it looked. Surely he's frustrated, but I don't know. The guy doesn't look like an attack type of guy to me.
He learned at the knee of Danny White. He watched White and Olkowitz last week in the Dallas-Washington game.
You guys are getting aggressive. A great move by Jesse Penn, though. 2nd-round draft pick a couple of years ago. Never really made it. Had a chance to take over from Jeff Rohr and couldn't beat him out. Hagman's out now with a broken fibula, and I'll tell you, that was a terrific catch. A lot of concentration just to come up with it, keeping his eye on it.
Now Dallas with 2 timeouts remaining. Screen for Dorsett. No blocking is there, and he runs out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Covered by Wilcher. So they have it at the 40, where it'll be 2nd down and 7, and 47 seconds remaining in the half. Dallas on top, 13-7.
I can't look at Tony Dorsett without thinking of Walter Payton at the same time. The 2 of them contemporaries through the years, coming into the league at relatively the same time, and tough to look at one without looking at the other.
And Pelleur gets sacked, and there's a flag down at the 33-yard line. He got up. He wanted to take the timeout, but he won't have to do that because the penalty stops the clock. It was Reed who gets credit for the sack and the holding call on the Cowboys.
She was dropped for a sack. Penalty is holding.
I think we're going to get the right guard, possibly Crawford Kerr, as being the culprit.
Rams will take the play because that will spend it down.
Holding. 68. Offense is declined. 3rd down.
Back to the 33-yard line.
That offensive lineman, you get the call, hear your name, never raise that head up.
No, you notice Crawford kept it right down in there.
Well, at least the penalty was declined.
And that, you know, it doesn't count that way. Unfortunately, coaches never buy that the next day.
Right.
They're not very impressed with the decline of the penalty.
3rd and 14. Dallas from the 33-yard line. And it's the inside handoff to Hershel Walker. Big hole. Bursts his way forward to the 48, and that should be a 1st down. Cromwell and Gray converge on the tackle.
And we'll see where they spot it. It's very close to and should be a first down.
What a weapon he is. In a passing situation, you give him a draw play. We saw him, Al, a year ago in the opening game of the season, out at about the 12 or 13-yard line.
And now Dallas is going to take a timeout, meaning they have one remaining.
And they gave him a draw play instead of going with the pass against the Giants, and that was the big play that won the opener for them. Here it is again. He is such a weapon. When you're thinking pass defensively, you turn this man loose. With the speed and the power, he again runs through Cromwell to get the extra 2 or 3 yards that he needed to get the first.
Did you notice who made the big block on that play as well?
Kirk.
Again, it was Timmy Newsome.
Newsome.
This guy is killing people tonight.
Coming up at halftime, a couple of interesting features for you. We'll take a look at the playoff picture with a week to go. Walter Payton, who is in Chicago, will be joining us, and Eric Dickerson, who is still here in Southern California for the moment, prior to heading back to Indianapolis tomorrow, will be joining us as well.
And the playoff picture will be explained in total detail by Pee Wee Herman.
Should be.
You gotta love it with all the tiebreakers, and especially in the AFC, where just about
Keeps
everybody,
people's attention.
Yeah.
Everybody's alive.
On the 48-yard line.
We'll break it down for you, or we'll break down. At the 48-yard line, 1st and 10. Pelleur throws over the middle to a wide-open Walker, who gets to the outside, gets spun around, and then steps out of bounds to stop the clock at 23 seconds.
That was some kind of effort. Didn't result in a lot of yards, but it stopped the clock for Dallas. And Hershel Walker catches that pass a good 15 yards inside the field, and still is able to work his way all the way over to the sidelines.
His 5th catch of the night. Dallas has 1 timeout remaining. They lead by 6. They have the ball at the 48-yard line at 2nd down and 6.
Remember, Walker is chasing those 2 700 yards, 1 for receiving, 1 for rushing, and he's almost there for the rushing. Only 2 more in the receiving. Maybe he'll get that one before the night is over as well.
They split him to the right on 3rd down and 6, or 2nd down and 6. It's Pelleur throwing over the middle, and it's caught at the 28 by Kelvin Martin, and Dallas takes its final timeout. So they get within field goal range. Leroy Irvin and Nolan Cromwell converge on the tackle, and the ball is down at the 29-yard line.
The weakness of that zone defense, and you see it here, Irvin playing way off, not going to get them anything deep. And with a lot of time, Pelleur was able to let Martin come across, clear the linebackers, and he was wide open. You'll catch a lot of things underneath the Rams, and they'll give you a lot of things short, but nothing deep. And you saw a good example of the zone right there.
His forward progress takes him down to the 27-yard line, so they are in range of a 44-yard field goal, and also they have enough time to run a play or maybe 2 prior to that, assuming they're able to stop the clock, because they do not have a timeout.
And that pattern we just saw run by Martin, I think, is the type of a pattern that Steve Pelleur, playing quarterback, allows the Cowboys to do. That's the type of a pass that takes a lot of velocity and a lot of control right over the middle that Danny White, because of his bad wrist, just has trouble executing. And if Steve Pelleur continues to play with the kind of accuracy he's showing here tonight, hey, maybe the Cowboys are really going to have something, because, you know, Danny's future is really in doubt. You really have to wonder if he's ever going to do it again.
Next week, New England against Miami could be a very big game. Would be a tremendous game. It would be for the AFC East title if Tampa Bay beats Indianapolis. But here we go into the ifs, and we'll clear up some of the ifs at halftime.
Had Steve Hurt had smoke coming out of his ears and research today.
But that's what we've got. That's the final game of the regular season next Monday night. New England and Miami from Miami. Cowboys shotgun. Remember, they've got to get out of bounds or throw an incomplete pass to stop the clock. And it's caught by Newsome. No, he dropped the ball, and that stops the clock with 10 seconds.
Nolan Cromwell was covering.
So 2nd down, but that's pretty much irrelevant at this point. Cromwell was covering. 10 seconds to play in the half. And here comes Ruzek.
The Cowboys would be able to run another play if they had a timeout remaining. A good effort that time, and remember, it might have looked like Newsome had the ball and pulled it into his midsection, but you got to bring both feet down to the ground, and Newsome didn't get him down before he lost possession of the football.
45-yard attempt. from this range, 6 for 8 this season. And remember, he kicked 4 1/4 against the Giants on November 2nd. Pelleur to hold. And Ruzek's kick is good. And so that's pretty much a 6-point swing, because the Rams had 3, took the 3 off the board, then the Penn interception, and Dallas is able to cash that in for 3 here. And a very happy Roger Ruzek has just given Dallas a 9-point advantage.
And in the second half, we're going to see the Rams do something that they don't do all that well, and that's play catch-up football. Jim Everett is the type of quarterback that doesn't have a whole lot of experience, and the Ram offense is a ball control type of offense, not geared to the big strike, the big play.
Even though they have the fellas who are capable of giving you the big strike, the big play, and Everett, Ellard, and Brown, but Ellard and Brown have been relatively quiet in the first half.
And this is it. You lose tonight, there is no tomorrow for the Rams. They know they have to win tonight. We've given you the other options. They have to win next week against the 49ers. They need help from Washington, and of course they need the Cards to win. Jim Everett, over the past few weeks, has developed into a different kind of quarterback, and I don't think he'll be as tentative as we have seen him in the past. Seems a little more in control of himself. But you know they're going to talk it over at halftime, because this game is the season for these Rams as far as staying alive for a playoff possibility.
6 seconds remaining, and back are Brown and Terrell, but chances are Ruzek will kick a little ground ball here and not give Brown a chance to run one back. Try to kick it to one of the up men. And he angles it, and it's picked up at the 25-yard line and run back to the 42 by Richard Brown. And that will do it for the first half. The Dallas Cowboys, a 7.5-point underdog, lead 16-7. And will return to Anaheim Stadium after this message from the NFL and a word from your local.
Quick, determination, condition all the time, and just an application and intelligence to the game.
Great artists, whether they're football players or composers, all have unique styles. Styles that are meant to be appreciated and not held up for scrutiny. And make no mistake, Peyton is an artist and has been for 13 incredible seasons. His dancing feet painted broad strokes. The football field was his canvas.
I think his mark will be measured by not only what he did on the football field, but I think his contributions off the field and to the community and to charities around Chicago and to the city of Chicago. And what he's given back to the game of football. I think that's where he's really going to be measured.
Walter's never been one for fanfare, but even sweetness couldn't stop the outpouring of emotion that awaited him as he stepped onto the field for his final regular season game of his career.
Ladies and gentlemen, playing in his 95th and final regular season game at Soldier Field, number 34, Justin Walker.
I guess the hardest thing to do is to say goodbye to the ones you love. And those guys that are standing down there in the end zone are my love. I guess the only thing I can say now is thanks for being there. Thank you.
And Walter now joining us live. And Walter, I think all those fans who were there since you came up those 13 years ago, would like to thank you for being there. Your thoughts yesterday as you looked up at that crowd, the many memories you had.
Well, Frank, when I started out 13 years ago, I never would have imagined it would end like this, or it could even build to this type of heights. And yesterday, it really it humbled me, and it made me just proud of the fact that I could be a small part of such a big game, and I could influence so many people's lives just by doing something that I love to do. and having fun by doing it.
All the records, Walter, the most yardage ever gained by an athlete in this particular game of pro football that you have turned into such a work of art for yourself. Any of them more significant than the others, Walter?
At this point,
many records?
Well, I don't think any of my individual records really stand out. At this point, I could really pinpoint one. I think my biggest accomplishment for a team and my worst accomplishment as a team, they were all in the same year, within 2 weeks apart. My biggest moment in football was the playoff game we won in Washington that sent us to the NFC Championship game against San Francisco. And then my biggest disappointment was the NFC Championship game against San Francisco. So it all ends in 1 year.
Well, Walter, can I tell you, for all of us at ABC, for the many millions who are watching you tonight, we just wish that everybody handled talent and skill in the gracious way that you've handled it. Congratulations on a great career. I know it's not over. We wish you well next week against the Raiders, and thank you for taking the time and being with us.
Oh,
Walter Payton, one of a kind. We'll be back in Anaheim in a moment.
Seattle wins, they are in one way or another. If Indianapolis wins, they win the AFC East. Houston is the one team that if they win against Cincinnati Sunday, they are in the playoffs. If they lose, they are out of the playoffs, period. Now, these four teams need certain combinations to develop to help them get in. But among other things, they'll just have to win and then take their chances. Pittsburgh, Miami, San Diego, and New England. It's a wild set of circumstances, and it will become obviously more clear after Saturday's game, certainly as far as the National Football Conference is concerned, and also Pittsburgh taking on Cleveland in the AFC on Saturday. Meanwhile, we have Eric Dickerson with us. Eric of the Indianapolis Colts, not quite back in Indiana yet because they played in San Diego yesterday, so he's enjoying a day off in his old home area, and he joins us now from Santa Monica. Eric, you've now been with the Indianapolis Colts for 7 weeks. People wanted to know when the trade was made, could Eric Dickerson find happiness in the heartland? So individually, your 7 weeks in Indianapolis, how have they gone?
They've gone very well. Everyone knows me pretty well. If I didn't like it, I'd say it was okay. I'm very much enjoying it. I think the people are very friendly. They really support a football team, and I think we have a good football team.
From a perspective of 7 weeks hindsight, why did it break down? How did it break down in your negotiations with the Rams?
Well, I didn't try to negotiate with the Rams. Went to London for that exhibition game with Denver, and they wanted me to keep it quiet the whole time, which was fine. We kept it quiet, and it just didn't work out. And you know, there was a lot of things said that were not true, certain offers they made which were not true. And you know, I'm very happy where I'm at right now, and I want to be there for the rest of my career. And, you know, I'm with a team I think that really wants to win. I think that's the most important thing. They have players that really want to win.
I know you have a great deal of respect for your former teammate Charles White, but truly, did you think that Charles White had the type of talent so that he would be capable of leading the National Football League in rushing at this particular point?
Yes, because Charlie's a very hard worker. I've always said Charlie was a hard worker. I even thought that he worked harder than even myself on the practice field. Charlie gives it 110% every time he's on the practice field, and I think it pays off when he plays.
A brief thought now about your game, and the importance thereof, of course, is obvious. Next Sunday against Tampa Bay, a win and you win the East.
Well, we want to win that game, and if we go out there thinking we can win the game, you know, with confidence, I think we'll win. But if we go out there overconfidence, we can lose. You know, I think everyone knows that Tampa Bay does not have a winning record right now, but we're not looking at that. We're looking at them as being a championship football team right now, and we want to win that football game no matter what.
Eric, thank you for joining us. Eric Dickerson of the Indianapolis Colts visiting with us at halftime from Anaheim Stadium, where Dallas leads the Rams 16-7. We'll be right back. First possession of the second half. And the third quarter from Anaheim gets underway with a kick fielded by Martin at the 5. Past the 20. And lunges out to the 27-yard line. And Fred Stokes gets credit for the tackle. This ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you by Pontiac, America's road car company. We build excitement. By Miller Brewing Company, sole sponsor of the U.S. Olympic Training Centers. And by Braun. Braun products are designed to perform better.
It's only through superior design that superior performance can be achieved. Injured Cowboy as yet still not identified on the kick return.
It's impossible to tell from right there.
Yeah, Nate Newton. It's Nate Newton, the big offensive lineman, and we do mean big at about 310 pounds.
Nate Newton, the injured player.
He was back in the wedge, I believe, on the kickoff return, and Big Nate is okay. As he thunders towards the Cowboy sideline, and meanwhile over on the Rams sideline, the owner of the Los Angeles Rams, Georgia Frontier.
Madame Ram.
I guess she's down there, maybe offering up a couple plays, her suggestions, and how the Rams can get back in this ball game, down 16-7.
1st and 10, Dallas now from the 27-yard line. And a screen over the middle to Tony Dorsett. First down, past the 40, and a lot more all the way to the 46-yard line of the Rams. Tackled by Nolan Cromwell.
And I think there's a good look at what I was talking about earlier. 2 years left on this guy's contract, and the Dallas Cowboys very much would like to have Tony Dorsett stay a member of the Cowboys if he'll just willingly accept his role as the backup to Hershel Walker. That's a lot to ask of a guy who still has this kind of talent.
It is tough, and you saw the old Tony Dorsett move, though. He broke it to the inside with a little head fake and knew he had enough speed to get to the outside, and he did just that.
George Lilja is in place of Rafferty at center, and Zimmerman is in at guard, replacing Newton. And there is Dorsett, proving that he is a lot more than a museum piece. He may be an old running back. The question is, can he be a #1 running back? He'd like to be. He can't be in Dallas, and if he accepts his role, and we discussed this in the first half, they'd love to have him back.
But the thing to keep in mind with Tony as we look at this reverse angle is that he still is in remarkable physical condition. Here's a guy that really has had no major injuries. He's a guy who stays in tip-top shape, and if he'll accept that role, I think he's got another 2 or 3 years left easily.
On 2nd down and 2, Pelleur has it tipped and incomplete. Carl Eckert nearly came up with the interception.
You know, more on Tony Dorsett. It was really Tom Landry's design that has kept him as healthy as you say, Dan, because over the years he wouldn't let him carry the ball more than 10, 12, 15 times a game, and Tony wanted to carry it many more times, but keep in mind he only goes about 185, 188 pounds, and that's really tough for a running back to carry it. When you get up into the 20s and the 30s, you're going to really pay for it.
He comes out on 3rd and 2, and Newsome comes in as the fullback with Walker the tailback, and it's Hershel Walker breaking tackles, picking up the first down on a good solo effort. Run out of bounds by Nolan Cromwell. Walker appeared to be initially stopped and just broke a tackle, went right by Gary Jeter, and picks up the first down.
And I guess that's why Tony isn't starting a tailback. This power, strength, and again, a big block by Newsome out in front, who is just ripping up the Rams. There it is. He just smashes his way through the Rams. And Walker spins with that tremendous strength out of a tackle and gets another first down.
Now, if I'm a guy in a blue jersey, one of the Rams, and I'm coming up and I see number 30 in a white jersey coming at me, Timmy Newsome, I get out of the way. This guy has been hurting Rams all night.
Double tight end set up on 1st and 10, and Pelleur is going deep to the end zone, tipped and complete. Bobbled by Edwards, and he couldn't hold on. Covered by Leroy Irvin.
And covered like a blanket by Leroy Irvin. That is the way to get on top of somebody, and that's exactly the look. Leroy Irvin inside out position on Kelvin Edwards. He's got him measured for speed, a little contact, but that's initiated by Edwards right there.
And Irving knew exactly when to turn those eyes, look for the football, knew when it was going to come down, avoided the contact that would draw the flag, although there was a lot of bumping going on in there. But again, Pro Bowl coverage by Irvin.
Edwards was the man we showed you in the first half with the ankle wrapped in ice, encased in ice, but back in, obviously, and playing a big role in the second half. Walker through the middle, all the way down to the 25-yard line. It will be 3rd down and 2. Michael Stewart and Nolan Cromwell come up for support on the tackle. Nate Newton, the report from the bench, has a pinched neck nerve, and he should be back. But for the moment, it's Jeff Zimmerman, a backup tackle who moves to guard. Newton weighs in at about 310, 315. Zimmerman weighs in at about that same set of figures. 3rd and 2. And Walker gets wrapped up by Doug Reed on a big, big play. A very important play because the Rams, already down by 9, have to keep the Cowboys within 2 touchdowns, especially with the type of offense that Los Angeles employs.
And that time Doug Reed was lined up against Kevin Gogan, the right tackle, who's had a rocky couple of weeks for the Cowboys, and Gogan just overreached, tried to get the outside position on Reed, and he just gladly took the inside and went in and made the big stop in the backfield. Gogan has had a bad couple of weeks.
Ruzek from 47 yards. He's made kicks from 24, 42, and 44. So now he stretches it out 3 more. Pelleur puts it down, and the kick by Ruzek
roughing the kicker.
Good. And again the flag. Jerry Gray again. Now the last time this happened, they kept the points on the board even though they had some confusion on the sideline. Now he's going to have the same option.
And I think Ruzek is hurt. I think Ruzek is injured on the play. Yeah, look at Roger.
You're so vulnerable when you're in that position. That's why they are so protective of a kicker. Let's take a look at it again. Snap was a little high. Pelleur gets it down, obviously in good position. Here comes Gray, and not blocked in to Ruzek. Caught him right on the legs, and he had all the weight on it.
Again, let's take a look at it. Jerry Gray coming from the bottom, going around to the outside, just brushes the shoulder of Tim Newsome, but that's the mistake all the way of Jerry Gray, who just took the incorrect angle, rather.
Running into the kicker, number 25, is declined.
So they did exactly what they did the last time, except this time they really meant it.
Well, this time they thought out their option and decided, and of course, maybe part of it is the fact that Ruzek is injured.
Absolutely.
What are they going to do if they get the ball, don't go anywhere with it, have to attempt a field goal again? And Ruzek right now is an unknown quantity to the Cowboys.
I think that very much comes into play at this point. Also,
and
at
19-7, right. You're looking at 19 will beat 17.
And here he is. And also the score comes into play here at 19-7. That's 12 points. If they can get another field goal, that's better than 2 touchdowns.
Right there, I think it was a good look at Tom Landry kind of flicking his wrist saying automatic first down, but then he didn't know that Ruzek was banged up, although looks like he's going to trot out and go ahead and kick the kickoff, but I don't think they knew that when they declined that penalty that he was going to be all right.
He's been buffeted about a little bit, Ruzek has tonight. That'll be tough. Let's take a look at the one earlier, and this time it's Gray coming from the other side, and Ruzek on his follow-through will catch Gray right in the face. That, of course, a foul against the Rams and Gray. You just can't run into that kicker. And again, you've got to time your move on the kicker where the ball is going to come from, not into the kicker.
If I were Jerry Gray, I might want to think about rushing up the middle. Coming from the outside just isn't working.
Funny game in the sense that we've had 3 field goals with penalties. Dallas kept the points on the board even though they felt that maybe they wanted to change the decision the first time. The Rams took their 3 off the board, and it wound up costing them because Penn intercepts, and then Dallas moves for a field goal. And then Dallas elects to decline the penalty here as Ruzek kicks off, and it's a short kick from the 14-yard line. It's Tim Terrell who comes back out to the 21-yard line. And one thing about Roger Ruzek, he loves Monday Night Football because the last time the Cowboys were involved in a Monday night game, he kicked 4 field goals in the 4th quarter alone, and tonight he's got 4 in the game.
Going to get a little treatment on the sidelines now. But he appeared to be all right. He shuffled down pretty well under that kick.
19-7 Dallas. Rams now from the 21, trailing by 12. And White for a minimal gain. Everson Walls comes up from the corner for the tackle. And at least at the outset of this drive, the Rams staying with their basic game plan. But it's a whole other story when you're down by 12.
One of the things that always drives me wild about kickers is wearing one white shoe and one black shoe. I just can't believe that one or the other can't come in the same color. I mean, it's guys with, that's a fashion statement I just can't get in tune with.
2nd and 9. Over the middle to Gooman. First down to the 35-yard line. Mike Gooman tackled by Everson Walls at the 35.
Nothing against Ruzek, Dan, but you've been around kickers all your life. There is something just a little bit different.
I mean, it's got to be psychological. I mean, if the kicking shoe that he really prefers on his right foot is black, why not wear a black shoe on your left foot? I mean, it's out of sync. It's totally out of sync. It's not right.
Rams at the 35 after Gooman's 4th catch of the night. And it's White who can't get free from Jeffcoat. Tackles him for a loss back at the 30-yard line, and we've got Jim Jeffcoat isolated.
Good move to the outside, a quick move by Jeffcoat. Rohr coming also, reads the play, but now a move to the inside of Irv Pankey, and he is right in Charlie White's face. Jim Jeffcoat, 5th-year man, former first-round draft pick, and the Travelers Man of the Year for the Dallas Cowboys, and of course the Travelers Man of the Year for the entire NFL will be announced at the Super Bowl in San Diego.
2nd and 15, Rams at the 30. Everett for Gooman, overthrown, and the pressure that time put on by Kevin Brooks, forcing the early release.
Well, another look at that maturity, though. I mean, he knew he had to throw that football away. He didn't have time to look for another receiver, and rather than try to force it in to Gooman, he just threw the football away. He's shown a lot of maturity here tonight.
Everett, and keep it in mind, he's only making the 16th start of his career. 2nd year out of Purdue. 3rd and 16 from the 30. Rams 50% on 3rd down conversion. And the catch is made by Brown out to the 44-yard line. But he is short of the first down as Everson Walls stops him shy of the first down by about a yard. So the Rams are going to have a 4th and 1 at their own 44. And Walls, for the moment, turns in a very big play.
That time Jim Everett was under some pressure, but boy, was he effective in staying in the pocket. And you're right about that, Al. That was some play by Walls, having to run Brown down all the way across the formation. I didn't know that Everson had that kind of speed.
Dale Hatcher to kick. At the 19-yard line, Kelvin Martin. Thrown down at the 21-yard line by Norwood Van. 9 minutes and 22 seconds remaining in the 3rd period. Dallas by a dougie with an 80-yard drive, then a punt, and then 4 field goals. The result of their next 5 possessions, and they lead by 12, and they now have the ball here at their own 22-yard line, 1st and 10. 9:22 remaining, 3rd quarter. Dorsett to the 26-yard line. He's tackled by the nose tackle, Greg Meisner.
Greg Meisner, maybe.
And season's greetings to all of you, because the next time we'll be visiting with you will be after Christmas, next Monday night on the 28th from Miami.
Weird here tonight.
Please marry me, Jim Everett.
2nd and 6 from the 26. Pelleur to Walker. And Hershel fights forward to the 31-yard line and gets to within a yard of a first down. Irvin in on the tackle, and it will be 3rd down and 1, and Michael Stewart also in on the play.
Analyze that to begin with. There are very few football players who have even caught that football, much less turn it into something close to a first down.
Well, I think it's going to be really tough for the Dallas Cowboys to line Hershel Walker up at wide receiver anymore and not expect him to draw a crowd. I know we were talking to John Robinson this morning, and he said, well, we're not going to change any of our coverages just because Walker lines up at a wide receiver. Did you guys buy any of that? Because I didn't. I mean, when this guy goes to wide receiver, you've got to change your coverage. You've got to get a linebacker out there to help.
3rd down and 1 from the 31-yard line. It's knocked down And a big play right there by Reggie Doss.
That's what John Robinson was looking for when he decided to punt away at midfield, trailing by 12 points on a 4th down and 1 a while ago. He wanted his defense to react, and they have.
Interesting calls by Landry tonight. 3 times now on 3rd and short. He's opted for the pass. This time it doesn't prove fruitful, and he's forced into a punting situation with Saxon.
Well, I think those are the kind of calls you can make when you're out of the playoffs. I mean, that's a no-pressure call.
Off the side of his foot, but it takes a good Dallas bounce and now starts to roll sideways and is down at the 28-yard line. 41-yard effort for Saxon.
A look at the LA pressure on Saxon. Tom Landry from the far sideline was looking for the pressure. Tim Tyrell, hey, in a lot of ways that was roughing. To me.
Rams have the ball from the 28-yard line, and Everett going long for Brown, and it's nearly intercepted and knocked away by Everson Walls. Brown had gotten behind him, but Walls able to reach up and break the play up.
He was able to reach up because that ball was underthrown, and it's easy to underthrow the great speedster Brown. He runs about a 9-0, and Walls was able to get back, but Brown had blown by him 4 or 5 yards, and had Everett put a lead on it, it would have been 6 points. You can see him pulling up right here.
Well, you really have to credit Ron Brown for going back in after he sees that Walls has the ball and stripping it loose. Ron Brown not only ran an effective pattern in beating Walls, but when he saw the ball was underthrown, got back in, took it away from Everson, and forced an incompletion, which right there was the best the Rams could hope for.
On 2nd and 10, it's Charles White, and he can't get outside and is out of bounds at the 26-yard line. Run out of bounds by Danny Noonan, and it's going to be 3rd down and long with 7:38 to play in the 3rd quarter, and Dallas on top 19-7.
The Dallas Cowboys last week really took a lot of heart from the game they played with the Redskins, only losing by 4 points. They thought they played well enough to win, even though they were down 24-3 and came storming back into the ball game. And you know, they're playing like a team that's playing with a lot more confidence, even though they've lost 4 in a row. This sure doesn't look like a team that's lost 4 in a row.
No, they've been blown away on those 4.
3rd down and 11. And Everett throws, and it's Walls at the 40-yard line, picking it off.
And just like a wide receiver, did you see Walls get both feet down before he went out of bounds? What an effort. I mean, Everson Walls, if he doesn't want to play defensive back, make a wide receiver out of the guy on this play.
Got himself in man for man. And let's take a look at Everett again. Pass he would love to have back at this point. Walls playing it just perfectly. He's about as good as you can get at the corner on a man-for-man situation, because he is daring, he's courageous, he has to get them both down in bounds, and he does just that.
Everett, again, though, what was he looking at? I mean, Walls was already in front of his receiver, and we may be getting a replay here, folks. We're not so sure that right foot was down. Let's look at that thing again, guys, down in the truck if we could. It appears that that right foot, he's attempting to drag it, but it may not have been on the field. Let's look at this again. The left foot, I think we're going to see, is clearly down when Everson Walls catches the ball. Now let's see when he has possession. All right, the left foot is down, but the right foot, now he's trying to drag. Is it on the field?
Yeah, sure it is. You see the chalk coming up.
But there it's, oh boy. You hear the reaction of the crowd as they just saw it on the big screen here at Anaheim Stadium.
Walls is now appealing to the crowd.
Everson acting like it's people's court.
I thought he dragged the foot and then lifted it, because you see a little bit of that chalk fly from his right toe.
I'm not so sure. I don't. Now remember, the key word here is they have to see indisputable evidence.
Watch the right toe.
To overturn the official's
Watch the toe.
I wouldn't want to make that call.
That'll be tough. Did it flick the grass?
I think it did.
Well, let's put it this way. They have to see enough to overturn it. That's the key. They have to have indisputable evidence, the guys here in the replay booth, to overturn it. And I'm not sure they see enough there to overturn it.
You can see some of the remnants of that hash mark.
I think we see what we want to see.
Begin to fly. Yeah.
I think we all see what we want to see.
So Royal Cathcart, the replay official, is coming up with his decision, and it is.
Review. by the instant replay. There was a pass interception. Play is confirmed on the field. First down.
And the People's Court rules in favor of Everson Walls. I mean, I can understand what the guys in the replay booth are going through. And Al, I think your point is very valid. It did appear that there was a tick there with the right toe. But I'm not, you know, if I'm in that booth, I make the decision they just made.
Well, he needs conclusive visual evidence, and they stick with the call made at the spot. First down at the 40-yard line. Tony Dorsett to the short side of the field and turns it into a good gain and a first down to the 29-yard line.
People's Court getting a little rowdy.
Well, I don't think Everson was expecting a whole lot of sympathy from the LA crowd, especially after they showed it on the big screen.
Well, the graphic illustrated that Walls now with 42 career interceptions, tying him with Charlie Waters, second on the all-time Cowboy list. Number 1, Mel Renfro, who had 52 in his illustrious career. Dorsett, after an 11-yard gain, gives him a first down at the 29-yard line. Tony D again, only for 1 this time, and he is stopped by Mike Wiltshire, the outside backer. Second down, 9. 7:10 remaining, third quarter.
Once again, this is really it for the Rams, and Cowboys have had total control of it. No problem. They lead by 12, and they're moving the football once again. But if the Rams lose this one tonight, any playoff hopes they might have go right out the window.
Absolutely. Cowboys are within a field goal of going up by more than 2 touchdowns. Second and 8. Pelleur lost it for a wide open Cosbie. Makes the catch at the 8. Goes in for the touchdown. Doug Cosbie, the tight end, got free on the sideline and scores from 27.
And he was against Nolan Cromwell, who just fell down on the coverage. Nolan Cromwell is going to come over from the inside, try to get over to Doug Cosbie, and the guy is just going to fall down. Look at number 21. Just lost his footing, and that's why Cosbie wide open on the play. A terrible pass by Pelleur.
And he had him man-to-man all the way, so he was going to get no help. The nearest man to it came from completely across the field, Irvin. A man-for-man situation. He loses him, and Cosby's wide open.
Roger Ruzek for the point after. And with 6 minutes and 35 seconds remaining in the third quarter, the Rams are in deep and serious trouble.
The simplest of pass patterns, just a mistake by Nolan Cromwell, who falls down, and Doug Cosbie catches the pass. The Cowboys take a big lead, and the Rams may be looking at the playoffs going out the window.